It's the old man again, and here the afternoon, late afternoon of the third day of July in the year 2023, here in the Wakarusa Valley of northeast Kansas, USA, and playing around with that old YouTube thing again. So not sure how this one's going to work out. It's a little different than what I've been doing in the past. This is the I guess you might say 4th of July Eve, and I don't know, I've been sitting around here this afternoon. It got kind of warm. I worked outside most of the morning, but then this afternoon it warmed up pretty good, so I've kind of been sitting around the house and haven't been outside. Got to thinking about all those past 4th of Julys, and excuse me, got a little bug trying to fly up my nose there. I guess we got some of those critters here in the house. So anyway, I got to think about some of those past 4th of Julys, and when you get as old as me, there's been a lot of them. So thought I'd make a kind of a little fun video here for me more than anything else, remembering a few of them. I guess later down the line when I get even older, if I last that long, I can go back and watch this and maybe it'll bring back some memories too. But anyway, doing it a little differently because with all those past 4th, I'm not sure if I just start talking like I'm doing right now that I remember all the things I'd like to say. So I jotted down some notes here on the old computer. And I'm going to try to look over them as I go through and maybe not leave out as much that way. So I've never tried this before. Usually I just get up and ramble. And I'll be honest, I usually do a better job of just flat-ass rambling as I do trying to read notes or anything like that. Back when I used to have to give speeches, I hardly ever used notes. I'd think about what I want to talk about and get up and talk. Sometimes I do a decent job of it. Sometimes I didn't do too well at all. So here goes on this one. I grew up on a farm, southern Kansas, near the little town of Portland, Kansas, which is really not much of a town. Also close to the town of South Haven, which is still not much of a town, but a lot bigger than Portland. I remember 4th of July's back, gosh, I don't know how far, but most of the ones when I was younger focused around farm life. Harvest was over, we might be getting into some other projects such as plowing, disking, kind of preparing the soil for next year. But we did celebrate a little bit. Fireworks, I always kind of like blowing up things, so fireworks were kind of neat. Never bought a lot, but always had some, and just celebrate on the farm. There were a number of 4ths, however, where we didn't just celebrate alone as a family, but we had friends over. I can remember some 4th of Julys where we had our friends Art and Ann Weekly, who lived in Portland, and their children, Mike and Kay. Mike was slightly, both Mike and Kay were slightly older than me. I think Kay was probably just about exactly my age. Mike was a little older. And Art and Ann were my parents' friends, and we would have a picnic up at our pond, do some fishing. Sometimes if we caught a few fish, we'd fry the fish, and I'm sure we did some fireworks then too, but I actually don't even remember the fireworks. I just gotta remember the picnics around the 4th of July. Then there were other times when we'd have other friends. A good friend of my dad's, Harold Wiley. Harold lived closer to South Haven, north of South Haven. And his wife and their son Ivan. Ivan was quite a bit older than me, and guy that I always admired growing up. I always thought he was such a neat guy. Ivan went on to play basketball at Oklahoma State University. He was pretty darn good. Came back, farmed, and around the South Haven area. And we did a lot of hunting and fishing and things like that together. And there were times at least one I can remember in particular when they were over on the 4th, and we had that same kind of cookout and fishing and stuff up at the pond, and fired off a few fireworks. So those kind of stand out. Do you remember at least one 4th where we had, I'm sure there were times we had my grandparents up. I don't recall any of those exactly. I do remember a 4th when my aunt and uncle, Burkhart from down by Honeywell, Kansas, they were up, and my cousins, Elaine, Harold, and Ernest, all of which were older than me, were there, and Harold was always kind of one of my favorite cousins. We did a lot of things together, and I say a lot of things. We went hunting a few times, we went fishing. We didn't spend the time together I'm sure a lot of cousins spend together, but I always liked Harold. Harold ended up teaching at Virginia Tech, where he just passed away in this last year. He was in forestry and very well known, wrote a lot of papers, did a lot of research. Brilliant young man, and a brilliant man. I mean, obviously, he didn't stay young forever, just like none of us do. But I do remember those times. Then just times that my parents, my sister Glenda, and I, we had little 4th of July celebrations, and quite often it was at our pond, up in our pasture, and involved some fishing. Oh, there were times later on when I did other things too as I got older, and I started teaching in Caldwell, Kansas. Remember some 4th of Julys back then. I mean, we did other things. I guess I want to backtrack a little bit. There were a few 4ths when we actually left the farm. I know one time we did go to Blackwell, Oklahoma to a baseball game and watch the fireworks afterwards, my parents, my sister, and I. And then there were times that we went, I know, to Caldwell, Kansas, to some activities there. I believe I was already teaching when some of those took place. And then after my parents retired, moved to Wellington, I went up there a few times and joined them to watch fireworks out at the watershed west of Wellington. So we went a few other places too. Not always fireworks involved. A couple of 4th of Julys that I remember that are quite memorable. One in 1976, it had rained a lot, and that's after really dry periods before that. My dad and I had been up to Topeka, the Topeka area. It was actually at Pauline, Forbes Field, on the 1st day of July, testifying on behalf of all the damage that had been caused by illegal use of pesticides. But then it started raining. It had been really dry before that. We got home, and on the 4th of July that year, it rained a lot. And I don't remember any fireworks, but my friend Jean Trott and I, we were into herpetology and photography. We spent that 4th out wandering around along the creeks on my parents' property and a few other places, finding and photographing frogs and toads. So that was kind of a fun 4th too. Then moving on, I don't remember the exact years after I was teaching also, but one 4th, also being kind of a wet 4th, kind of a last minute thing. Another friend of mine, a science teacher from Oxford, Kansas, Doris Phipps, and we decided to head out to Barber County and look for red-spotted toads, and that's where we went for the 4th, and spent the night searching for red-spotted toads. We found them, we photographed them, and had a pretty good old time just out there in the Red Hills of Kansas. So that was another 4th I remember. All of this was before I moved to Topeka, the Topeka area. I moved up here in 1991 after teaching in Caldwell for 19 years. And then because of the turtle wars, as they're referred to, and that's a hell of another story, but I'll leave it out right now. I ended up leaving Caldwell and moving to the Topeka, Kansas area and taking a teaching job at Topeka Collegiate School, an independent school up here. Soon after that job, I ended up meeting Suzanne, my future wife, who we were married on the 9th of July, 1994. We'd been going together about 3 years before we got married. Suzanne and I had one hell of a lot of fun on the 4th of July several times. I can remember probably as many for us during our time together before she passed away from cancer on the 8th of March in 2020. Some of them were local. We went to fireworks displays out at Lake Shawnee. We went to fireworks displays at different local lakes around here. Went to Amigo, one of the largest in the state, for their fireworks display. Those were all the Kansas ones. And we had a few for us who we just celebrated here at home too, just like I'm going to do this year. Then there were two that stand out. One was the 4th of July, the year 2000. We spent in Homer, Alaska. And boy, was that an interesting 4th. Since it didn't really get dark at that time of the year in Alaska, or that part of Alaska, I don't remember much about fireworks at all. But we did go to a really neat Independence Day parade in Homer. And that was fun. Oh my gosh, some wonderful memories from that trip to Alaska and that 4th of July. And then there was the 4th of July that we call the Year on It right now, where we spent it in Clayton, New Mexico, up in the northeastern corner of New Mexico, Union County. We were there camping at Clayton Lake, and we got to know people in Clayton because of field trips we'd taken students to, and I'd been down there a few times with my friend Joe Collins on field trips. And so we knew some of the people. Since we weren't from there, they were having a big chili cook-off to celebrate the 4th in Clayton, and they got Suzanne and I to be two of the judges for that cook-off. And that was also a lot of fun. Went to their fireworks celebration that night. Not quite as big as some of the ones we've been to in larger cities, but it was fun. And we did enjoy it, and that was another very memorable 4th of July in Clayton, New Mexico. If I left anything out here, Suzanne, of course, lost her battle with cancer in 2020. We'd celebrate our 25th wedding anniversary on the 9th day of July in the year 2019, in the Taos, New Mexico area, and I don't even remember much about the 4th that year. We were getting ready to head out to Taos, and I think we headed out there on about the 6th. I can't remember for sure. I'd have to look that up. But we spent our 25th wedding anniversary in the Taos, New Mexico area for about a week, camping at an Airbnb in the mountains. Very, very secluded area, and a very enjoyable time, even though it was a little after the 4th. As I said, she lost her battle with cancer on the 8th of March. She was diagnosed with cancer on the or during the Thanksgiving holidays, and then lived until the 8th. COVID hit after that, and the 4th of July 2020, people were still dying by the thousands. I'd been pretty much isolated here at the house with my friend Max. Maxwell Smart, our rescue dog. And I do remember that year I set up a grill and grilled some hamburgers out in the yard and just kind of celebrated here on my own, because I sure didn't want to be around people. Didn't feel it was safe and really wasn't interested in it anyway. The same was pretty much true for the year 2021. Last year on the 4th, I don't really remember. I guess it was okay. I didn't do anything exciting, I know that, but was here. And now we're to the 4th of July in the year 2023, and quite frankly, I'm not doing too bad at all right now. I'm actually feel pretty good. It's hot out there. I don't know just what I'm going to do tomorrow. I have no big plans. And I'm sure not making this video to get anybody to feel sorry for me or to say, hey, you know, that guy needs to get out and do something, because to be honest too, I kind of enjoy being alone at times, and tomorrow's going to be one of those days. I think I probably will spend most of it alone. I plan to. I may take a drive in the country, I don't know, maybe even visit with some friends a little bit, but basically just going to be another day, another 4th of July. And my good old friend Maxwell Smart, who was here beside me for a while, he's over there sleeping on the floor now. He got tired of listening to my rambling, I guess. We're going to have a good old time as we have in the past. So, as I said, this is a little different rambling that I've been making, and I'm kind of doing it more for myself than anything else. Just something to do. As I've said in some of my other YouTube presentations there, I kind of enjoy this old YouTube thing. It's kind of fun. I sure know that I'm never going to be a TV star. I don't care to be a TV star. These things are not going to go viral. And to me, as far as I'm concerned, this viral crap is about as stupid as it gets. I do this for me. I do have a YouTube channel. I know a few people watch, and I hope they enjoy some of the stuff I do. I don't really care. I hope they do if they watch it. I enjoy watching some of the YouTube things. Mostly things that people do kind of like what I'm doing now. People who just get out and talk about themselves. Don't try to impress people. Don't try to do a bunch of the gee whiz crap. Just talk and let people know who you are. So I think that's about it. So I think for now I'm going to close the old computer down. I used my notes a little. They made a little bit of sense. A little bit. But once again, it was mostly rambling. That's about all I do. I'm a pretty good rambler. Don't say a lot. As we used to say about a teacher I had when I was a freshman in high school in South Haven, Kansas. He taught driver's ed and also taught history. I won't say his name, so I don't want to embarrass anyone that might be related to him, but he's a good old guy. He was a coach also. He used to tell all kinds of stories in class, and I'll admit I enjoyed listening to them. So we used to say he liked to talk a while before he said anything, and I guess that's maybe where I got this. I like to talk a while before I say anything. So for now anyway, cheers, or whatever. I'm going to call her quits and wish you all the very best out there. So until next time.